short Av. But its full name is Menachem Av, and Menachem means the consoler, and Av means Av, father, parental being, source of counsel and source of consolation. The first of Av, then we will be approaching the 9th of Av when we remember the loss of our 2 temples and what life could have been. This is a time, they say, of diminishing joys, but it's also a time of increasing engagement in Torah and in mitzvot. And here we are engaged in tefillah, the mitzvah, the calling of entering Shabbat. So we give in, right? A complete giving in. They say meserut nefesh, giving in as if we are also giving in to the knowledge that there is a moon that's coming, except it's hidden. So gradually, we give ourselves over to Shabbat. Welcoming the angels, we are on page the page of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon.
You're on page 12.
Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
It's on page 6.
Bachuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
The Holy One will order, they say, all the angels, all these hidden messengers to protect and guard you in all the ways possible. And we asked, reveal yourself, dear friend. We say, Higalana, reveal yourself. We're on page 8, the big bold letters.
Igale, gale, gale, na ufros, chavivi alai, et
pray of the revelation. We pray for peace, spreading peace over me. Be open to all images, divine images, the next person that will be entering in this sacred space. We open ourselves to the images of one another, being here, being present. And we are now for real on page 12, Shiro Ladonai. This community will sing and start all over again. Shiro Ladonai, Shir Hadash, Shiro Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiro Ladonai, Basru Mishemo, Basru Miyom Leyom, Yeshuato, Sapru Vagoyim, Kebodo Bekol, Ha'amin Niflotav, Ki Gadol Adonai, Hulal Me'od, Norahu, Al Kol Elohim, Kol Elohei ha'amim elelim, B'Adonai Shemayim asa, Hode Hadar lefanav, Os betiferet be'mikdasho, Havu l'Adonai mishpechot amin, Havu l'Adonai kavod ba'oz, Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, Se'u mincha, ובוא לחצרותיו, שכבו לאדוני בהג הקודש, גילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים, אדוני מלך, עפיפון תבל ותימון, ידים עמים ומישרים, ישנפו השמיים ותגר הארץ, וירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי בכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, לשפוט תבל בצדק, יאמין באמונתו, So we opened up to the voices within us. And now we open up to all images divine. Mizmor LeDavid, Havol Adonai. We are Psalm 29, page 20. We rise.
Adonai Beneim Havul Adonai Kavod V'Ozai Havul Adonai Kevoshemo Ishtahavul Adonai Bihadra Kodesh Kol Adonai Al Hamayim El HaChavodi Hirim Adonai Al Mayim Rabim Kol Adonai Bakoach
Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shober arazim, vayeshaber Adonai k'datzei halevanon, vayakidem kemo egel Lebanon. Besirion kemo ben enim ay Kol Adonai chotzev lahabotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai mi bakadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel ayalot vayechesor ye'arot ubechalot kulo omer kavod Adonai lama bulgasha vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yitem, Adonai yovarech et amo b'shalom. Hay ay ay ay, hay ay ay ay,
May be seated. A meditation for Shabbat. It says at the beginning of the Torah that each of us was created in the image of God. So each of us walks around reflecting the divine image at our best. But sometimes that image gets clouded over, or maybe even like a dirty mirror. You can't quite see the reflection. Maybe by feelings like alienation or resentment or anger. So if you will join me, let's go through a bit of a cleansing of that mirror and think about the past week when you might have felt alienated, and take a sponge and literally, in your mind at least, wash away that feeling. Clear the mirror. And take a deep breath. And think of when you might have been angry, really consumed with anger. Take a sponge full of sudsy water, kind of spiritual sponge, and cleanse the mirror of all that anger. And think of moments when you might have felt isolated, distanced, alone, alienated. And pick up that sponge and clean all those states of consciousness away. And what's left is a beautiful, clean mirror reflecting the divine image on a day on which it is said that we will be resold, vayinafash. And now your soul might reflect that of your divine source.
As I walk across the rocking bridge, I can feel the world around me, and the sun, and the sky, and the rocks, and the waves, and the birds, and all astound me. I've been walking now for days and days, and I wonder where it leads. I forget the reasons I am here. So I do the simple deeds of a man who's going somewhere, but who cannot see the light, and who doesn't have a map leading left, leading right. So I put one foot before me, and I do it once again. And it's very odd, but I trust in God, and I feel the calming rain. If I try to stop the weather, it'll force me to the ground. It'll bring me to my knees again, and for certain I will drown. I'll be filled with pain and anguish. I'll have no serenity. And no matter how much sunlight shines, there'll be no light on me. This calm in my surrender, this peace in what I don't know. There's a miracle awaiting if I'm willing to let go. So I put one foot before me, and I do it once again. And it's very odd, but I trust in God, and I feel the calming rain.
We're on page 24. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Penka dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor bezachor bedibor echad, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד,
לשם תפארת בלי תהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור ברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה. רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך נמלה. אכה דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי. על יד ישי בית הלחמי, קורבה אל נפשי גאלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. איי איי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדיי ידדיי ידדיי, פני שבת נקבלה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדיי ידדיי ידדיי, פני שבת נקבלה.
לא תבושי ולא תחלמי, מה תשכחי ומה תהמי. בך יחזו עניי עמי, ונקנתה עיר אל תילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדיי ידדיי ידדיי, פני שבת נקבלה. איי איי איי,
לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדיי ידדיי ידדיי, פני שבת נקבלה.
והיו לבססוסייך, ורחקו כל מבלייך. יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כמסוס חתן על גלה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדיי ידדיי ידדיי, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדיי ידדיי ידדיי, פני שבת נקבלה.
ימין ושמאל תפרצי, ואת אדוני תעריצי. על יד איש בן פרצי, בן ישמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדיי ידדיי ידדיי, פני שבת נקבלה. איי איי איי,
לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדיי ידדיי ידדיי,
פני שבת נקבלה.
Lichadori, lichadkal, yadadai, 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 leshabat, lekabela. Lichadori, lichadkal, yadadai, 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 leshabat, lekabela.
בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, שבת המלכה. לך דודי
Likrat kala, yadadai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabela. Lichadodi, likrat kala, yadadai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabela. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 yai, yai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 yai, dai, 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 dai. Lichadodi, likrat kala, yadadai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabela. Lichadodi, likrat kala, yadadai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabela.
And we sit and we settle. And it's part of our service. We welcome those who are in mourning, those who have lost loved ones in this past week. We receive you in the secret that is Shabbat. And we call for healing. On page 113, right there at the bottom on the right side. 113.
הרופא לשבורי לב ומחבש לעצבותם מונה מספר לכוכבים לכולם שמות לקרוא Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. Healer of the brokenhearted, binder of their wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know who you are.
Ana Elna Refanala. May those who are in need of healing be reached by this Shabbat light by the waning of the light and the magic of this moment deep into your cells, and may healing be of body and spirit.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Diane Koloresis, Associate Rabbi at Romemu, and thrilled to welcome you all here tonight. Can you hear me? This is working? Yeah? Would love to welcome those who are new to Romemu, who haven't ever been here before, in the room first and then on Zoom. Yeah. Wonderful, Amy, and bringing greetings from George Mordechai. Wonderful, Chazan George, right? Yeah, yeah. Rabbi too, sorry. Yes. Do you mind standing up? Thank you. West Orange, you crossed the bridge. Welcome. Yes. Washington Heights, okay. Anyone else? Yes. Sarah from California, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Jesse. Yes. You all live in the city. Deborah and her bunch of friends. Alana? Marilyn, did you say? Madeline, welcome. Anyone who hasn't been here for like a long time in the room? Yes. Oh, you were here last week. Okay, never mind. Okay. Okay, anyone on Zoom would like to say hello? Anyone new on Zoom? I see a new baby. That's beautiful. Beautiful baby waving at us. Welcome to the baby. Anyone else who would like to say hello? Maybe we can unmute them for a moment. I see someone waving like that.
Shabbat Shalom from the West 70s. This is Rhoda. God bless you. Shabbat Shalom.
I think.
Hello, first
Is the
time on
waving-
Zoom,
can we
New
unmute
York,
the
Nikki.
waving?
Shabbat Shalom. This is Kimberly from Massachusetts.
Shabbat Shalom from Fire Island. This is Holly.
Holly from
I
Fire.
miss you. Oh.
Okay, excellent. Now,
Good Shabbos from Great Neck, Aunt Joni.
and Joni. Okay, now for some brief announcements. So most immediately and most excitingly, maybe not most excitingly, most immediately, right after services, we have a very small but wonderful kiddush downstairs, some challah, some grape juice. So come and small but mighty, so join us. Besides that, tomorrow we have Parsha study at 8:45, open book with me. And we are, and then services follow open book at 10 a.m. And we are seeking Torah readers. If you'd like to read Torah, please get in touch with me, diane@romemu.org. Besides that, August registrations, morning minyan, and the daily morning meditation, visit romemu.org to sign up. Let's see. Tish'a B'Av is coming up next week, next Saturday night, and Rabbi David will be back for that. So we are excited to welcome him back. August 6th at 9 p.m. on site and online. And Tisha B'Av morning minyan, August 7th, 8:30 a.m. online only. Now, our Social Justice Committee has organized virtual tours of prisons in Colorado and Florida, August 10th at 6 p.m. Okay. So if you'd like to know about that, learn more about that and how to register, email tal.siegel@gmail.com. If you can't remember that, it's in your handout. And Seekers, our Hebrew school, our wonderful holistic Hebrew school registration is now open. I think that's it for the announcements. Hope to see you after services downstairs.
And the shout out you heard several times mentioned the morning minyan. So during the year and during the summer, it's the pulse that keeps this community going. Early morning, 7:30, 8:30, it comes and it goes. So come and beat with us. And then the same thing, 8:45 on Saturday, Rabbi Diane leads open book. So, right, there are so many ways by way the Romemu heart beats in tandem with life itself. In the city and in our world, we are embraced, and we embrace our friends in our Zumagog, our Romemu friends from so far and so near coming to you with their voices, with their faces. And we soften hearts and soften knees, and we let go of that which encumbers us. The teacher of my first teacher, Abraham Joshua Heschel, who taught my first teacher, Rabbi Marshall Meyer of blessed memory, said that to pray is to notice wonder, to take notice of wonder, to regain the sense of the mystery that animates all beings. And this he didn't say, but wonder, do not ever, ever surrender that to anybody or anything. And we rise to be in wonder in Baruch Hu. We know before whom we stand. Yai ra yai ya da da yai 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 ra yai ya da da yai ra yai yai ya da da yai da ya da da yai ya da da yai ya da Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Yadada, yadada, we settle and we sit in this holy circle. Ruchat Shekhinah. We're on page 34. Blessed be the weaver of all beings, of our divine presence. Ruchat Shekhinah Eloheinu Ruach Haolam, Asher B'dvar Ma'ariv Ha'aravim. Dai 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 ai ai ai. ומעבירה יום ומביאה לילה, ומבדילה בין יום ובין לילה, היא הצבאות שמה. אלא חיה וקיימת, תמיד תמלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוכה את שכינה, המריבה ערבים. On page 35 and 36, Ahavat Olam, Beit Israel, עמך habtat תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. ידעת, ידעת, the bottom. כי חיינו באורך ימינו, והם נגה יומם ולילה. And to be loved, ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Through prayer, love, and listening, we arrive at unity. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Silently on page 41 and 43. Seat 13. Ani Adonai Elohechem emet.
We're on page 47, 48. Mi chamocha Ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha Nedar b'kodesh,
מלכותך ראו בניך חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים זה אנו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Hashkibenu. We are on page 4950, remembering Faith Ringgold's book. Anyone remember that book? What is it called again? Lying Under the Stars. What is it? Exactly. Hashkibenu is on page 49 and 50. Hashkibenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amideinu malkeinu lechayim ufros aleinu sokat shelomecha בתקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך בהושיענו למען שמך בהושיענו למען שמך השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך בתקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך והושיענו למען שמך בהושיענו למען שמך ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ועל ירושלים. And we rise, the people, Israel, our people, keep Shabbat, keep this mitzvah, our sign, our covenantal, eternal.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael Lasoret Ashabat Ledoretam Peri Olam.
ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום
השביעי שבת ינפש.
And we pause. Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
אמן.
ועלמא דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם עלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקדושה ויכו לעילה מכל בחטא בשירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמא ואמרו Amen. We come to the heart of our traditional prayer, the Amidah. We are on page 58, 68, 70, and all the ways we're able to silently pray. We're on page 71. by the waters of Babylon, where we sat down and where we wept when we remembered Zion, by the waters of Babylon, where we sat down and where we wept when we remembered Zion, and the wicked carried us away to captivity, required of us a song. How can we sing our holy song in a strange land? So let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Yah. By the waters of Babylon, where we sat down and where we wept when we remembered Zion, and the waters of Babylon, where we sat down and where we wept when we remember Zion, and the wicked carried us away to captivity, required of us a song. How can we sing our holy song in a strange land? So let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in their sight, oh Yah.
It was the summer before I went to rabbinical school. I was sitting in the garden of my parents' summer house on the Jersey Shore with my then boyfriend. I was about 28, and we were studying Torah. And I was upset by what we were studying. It was kind of demeaning to women, and I expressed my sorrow, and he got angry at me. He felt like the Torah is perfect as it is. And while on some level, I feel like this book is divinely inspired, I can't sort of look away from its patriarchal nature, from its violence, from its occasional xenophobia, as much as I confess I would like to. And sometimes as a teacher, I turn away from just those texts and I teach the ones that are a little bit easier to handle and a little bit just like plainly inspiring. But tonight I felt like I really can't hide from this because it hits us right at the beginning of the Parsha. It's a discussion, or the issue, the topic is vows and oaths. So the Parsha opens and tells us that any man who vows a vow to Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, to God, who swears a sworn oath to bind himself by a binding obligation, he is not to desecrate his word. Exactly what goes out of his mouth, he is to do. Lo yachel dvaro, kechol hayotze mipiv ya'aseh. That's the one line about men. And now the Torah goes into many verses about women, and it turns out it's much more complicated. But before we get to that, I just want to explain that what a vow is in the Torah, a neder, is when I say to God, let's say, if this happens, then I will stop eating that, right? So I kind of consecrate or refrain from taking part of some food or some object. The perfect example in the Torah is Hannah in Samuel 1:1, who says to God, if you give me a male child, I will devote him or dedicate him to God for the rest of his days. And she does have a male child and she gives him up to God. An oath, in comparison, affects the person, not the object. An oath is a promise to do or not to do something or claim that a statement is true or false. Okay, so now on to women and vows. If a young woman is living at home with her father and he hears her say this vow, if he is silent, the vow kind of sticks, right? It's fulfilled. But if he, on the day that he hears it, and only on that day, says, no, I don't think that's a good idea, he has the power to annul it. If he doesn't annul it on that first day, it's okay. Now you would think like, oh, maybe it's because she's young, but the Torah says nothing about a young man. So I don't think that it's only because she's young. And it turns out that a married woman has the same situation. So if a married woman makes a vow and her husband hears it, if he decides not to say anything, it's okay. The vow is fulfilled, but he can annul it on the day that he hears it. Now it's interesting because the status of divorced women and widowed is different. They are the only women who can make a vow and it's fulfilled, right? No one can abrogate their vow. It cannot be annulled. So what are we supposed to do with this, right? So here we have a text. This is our sacred text, right? And women can't freely commit to God. Right? They can't freely, or most women cannot freely commit to God. Right? So it's kind of upsetting, right? How do we live from this? So I often say to my students that the Torah is not the end of the conversation, it's the beginning of the conversation. So yes, there's ugly stuff in the Torah, but the tradition continues and evolves. So let's see what happens on our own Parsha. At the end of the Parsha, well, actually, first let's go back to last week for a moment. Last week, we talked about the 5 sisters, the daughters of Slavkad. The women, I imagine young women, right? The 5 young women whose father died and there were no brothers, and they wanted to inherit the family land. So when they put this request before all the people, God said, yes, they are speaking rightly. Like Moses was silent, did not know what to do, but God said, yes, they can inherit the land. Wonderful, right? Great text that we could perhaps hold up for feminist uses, right? At the end of this Parsha, the leaders of the tribe of Menashe, the same tribe as the daughters of Slavkad, get up and say, if they marry outside the tribe, our tribe is going to lose its land. That's not so good, right? They didn't like that. So God says, yes, they also speak rightly. It's the same words. And it's interesting because in each of their pleas before God, they use the same word, yidgara. We don't want to be diminished. The women say, we don't want our father's name to be diminished. And the men said, we don't want our holdings to be diminished, right? So God says, yes, the women have to marry within the tribe. Now you would think, this is disappointing. And it is kind of disappointing because last week, the daughters of Slavkad, they got up, they got exactly what they were looking for. And this week they're constrained. But if we look at it from a different angle, we might see it in a little bit of a different light. Last week, right, these women without any status got up and God said, yes, you're right. And the whole legal system shifted because of them. Now, this week, these powerful male leaders, right, from the tribe of Manasseh get up, and God says the same thing. The legal system will shift because of you, right? So these women state their need and something changes. These men state their need and something changes. And what happens here at the end of the book of Numbers, I think, is that the human voice is being raised up, and that our oral tradition, it's kind of laying the seeds for our oral tradition. Because think about it. 4 books of the Bible are taught, are told, are narrated through an omniscient narrator. But the 5th book, the book of Dvarim, the book of Deuteronomy, it's all in the voice of Moshe, right? Which paves the way for what will ultimately become an oral human tradition, right? We have the written tradition and the oral tradition. And the daughters of Slavka begin, and then the leaders of Manasseh continue. And then we have a 5th book in a human voice. Now, I'm not saying that these ideas make the patriarchy go away, but perhaps the mechanism here, right? The mechanism is established in Torah for human voices and human needs to be heard. And that paves the way for eventual egalitarianism. Eventual, right? It takes years and years and years. And meanwhile, we're studying this book, which is a combination of redemption, inspiration, right? Early sort of hints of liberation, and this other stuff which we might find oppressive. But I will say to you, and I will say to my boyfriend then, who I don't really know anymore, but I hear of him, he's become a very successful architect in Israel, that reckoning with this book gives it even more holiness, right? There's something about reckoning and struggling and adding your voice to the conversation that really raises it up. Now, here we are, it's the 9 days, right? The 9 days of Av, where we, on the way to Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, next Saturday night, where we mourn the destruction of the temples and countless other tragedies in Jewish history. But it's a really sad time. And in our own world, right, many of us face, like, we are also facing destruction. So what do we have to hold on to? What do we have? And I would say, we have this legacy. We have this book. We have this tradition of human voices, first God's voice, and then human voices multiplying and sanctified, and a book that invites us right into the conversation. So let's hold on to it, because these times are really hard, and we need instruction, and we need inspiration, and we need guidance more than what we're hearing, right, on social media and you know, in the news. We need voices from another time. We need all these generations of voices to help us through these times. Shabbat Shalom.
All these voices, we say it is infinitely and is definitely upon us. Aleinu, it is upon us to carry these complex voices and warring times into this world. We rise for Aleinu. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל. We're on page 78. לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, ששם חלקנו עמהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו, אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום, והשבות אל לבבך. והשבות אל לבבך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים. בהשבות אל לבבך. כי הוויה היא האלוהים. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. If you're in mourning, please stay standing, and according to your practice, please say the names of your loved ones whom you're remembering today.
Andrew Deutsch.
Andrew Deutsch.
Thank you. Lester Siegel, we remember. Sydney Sobel, we remember. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We remember Eliza and Leo Ezra Litvak. Eliza Pesha Bat Hana. We rise, if this is your custom, for Mourners Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malkutei, b'chayechon u'vyemeichon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'izman karib v'imru. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivorach le'olam olalmei almaya. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לאלה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה באמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל באמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל באמרו אמן. Tenachamu min hashamayim, may we find comfort in the heavens, comfort in our tradition, this gift, that we may come together and remember them so that it would not be forgotten. So we said earlier, Chodesh Tov, Rosh Chodesh Tov. So all the more so, this particular Rosh Chodesh Av shines as the yard site of Aharon. Right? Aharon, the priest Aharon, from whom we learn each morning when we daven, we say, "Shenihiyeh mitalmidav shel Aharon HaKohen." And may we be, right? May we be as the students of Aharon, always hungry, always increasing love and increasing Torah, always in pursuit of peace, in pursuit of loving all humanity and all creation, and drawing each other, like bringing each other closer and closer to Torah. Yes, so today is, we begin the yard site of Aharon HaKohen, Ahavat Israel, and into this cup of blessing. Voila. Here it is. That I can see you, and that I can see you all in our Zumagog, raising our cups of blessing, mugs, bottles, all sorts of ways of containing our gratitude. Grateful we are to Rabbi Diane Kohler-Esses, our associate rabbi, who's given us Torah that is just sweet and pulsing, and for our remote moderator, Grace Hack, and for our on-site staff, Ariel Ingber, welcome back. And for Cyrus back there, keeping us seen and heard. And our musicians, Farnoosh Safavi on Tuf, in person. She kept us going in Zoom as she was recuperating in the last weeks. Jerry Corman, second to the last here, my friend and my partner, and Keith Torgan on guitar and on vocals, and that beautiful poem of placing one foot in front of the other and forward. Barbara, we only play during high holidays. What's up with that? More community band. So we have our community band here more and more. I'm Rabbi Mira Rivera. And into this cup of blessing, all of you who've come today, you placed one foot in front of the other and came here today, and all our friends on Zoom. And we rise for Kiddush. We are on page, somebody help me, page 88. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים ביום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי חבריי, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. And before we come to a special offering of a song about freedom, we have to just seal what Rabbi Diane was like bringing together. And we have to build a new world. Yes? Olam chesed yibaneh. Like with kindness, we will build this world, right? Olam chesed yibaneh. Die, 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 die. Olam chesed yibaneh. 82. Olam chesed yibaneh, yedadai, ai, ai, dai, dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yedadai, ai, dai, dai, dai. I will build this world from love. Yadadai, ai, ai, dai, dai. And you must build this world from love. Yadadai, ai, 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 ai. And we will build this world from love. Yadadai, ai, ai, dai, dai. Then Hashem will build this world from love. Yadadai, ai, ai, dai, dai. Olam chesed yibaneh,
La-da-dai, dai, 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 dai.
Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, ai, ai, dai, dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, ai, ai, dai, dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, ai, ai, dai, ai.
People are uncomfortable with other people's ways. They want the other guy to be like them. And if they cannot change the other guy, they want to hurt him or send them very, very far away. What do you do when you want to be yourself? What do? Do you hide? Do you make believe you're happy and you don't really count? Do you wear a pretty face and live a lie? Lie, 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 lie. No. You stand for freedom. You stand for life. You stand for doing what is right and never backing down. Living an ideal and doing what you feel your elders taught you when they fought the fight. I've always been uncomfortable with stepping out of line. I've wanted someone else to lead the way. It's not that I don't care, it's just that I don't know the courage to step up to the podium and say, I stand for freedom, I stand for life, I stand for doing what is right and never backing down. Living an ideal and doing what I feel my elders taught me when they fought the fight. There are people in the world who stand for freedom. There are people in the world who stand for light. There are people in the world who have the courage to step into the fray and lead the fight. It's not that they're smarter or better. It's not that they know what to do. It's just that they're willing to weather the same storm that's brewing in me and you. So, if you are uncomfortable with trouble in the world and you would like to see it go away, find it in yourself to do the thing that you believe in. Step up to the podium and say, you stand for freedom, you stand for life, you stand for doing what is right and never backing down. Living an ideal and doing what you feel your elders taught you when they fought the fight.
Yasher koach, yasher kochech. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
shalom. Talk to each other. Say hello. I'm masking myself. There's a kiddush downstairs. Get a little nosh.